Welcome back to Crow's Judgment for a very special stream. I honestly tried to see if I could record a video on this one, but there were just so many times where I had to stop myself to keep going through this video and put like, I need to mention this and I have to mention this. I was like, at a certain point, I realized it's just easier to stream and do this shit live. Now, I appreciate everybody who's in the comments. I will be reading the comments as I go. I probably won't be highlighting anything. If you do send me a super chat, I'm obligated to read that, just to be fair for people. But I'm not trying to ignore you guys in the chat sections. I love engaging with you. But in this case, I want to get through this one as soon as I can. I'll probably put the stream on private and then up and then put it on unprivate tomorrow, so you can all watch and share it and everything. But I might not even do that because this is, how do I say this, right? Turkey Tom's video, I thought was, like I said, I thought he made some good points. I disagreed with the conclusions he was making. And there was some stuff that I was just like, this is just flat out fucking wrong. Then I watched this shit. And if you're standing with Ivory in this situation and you feel like Ivory is being truthful and everything, ask TommyC very politely to take that interview down, because my God, this shit is bad. It is hysterically fucking bad. And normally I do try to actually be very polite when people are polite. I don't try to just out the gate attack people and just address the points, but it is going to be very hard for me to do that in this one because Tommy says some objectively stupid shit. Right? Objectively stupid shit. And let's just get into it. Let's go. And let me just point something out, right? I love smoking hookah. Part of it, so it gets me a little bit lightheaded and everything, and just a good fucking feeling. And normally I do that so that I can mellow myself out and everything. And it's a bit of a mental handicap for the shit that I've been seeing, right? Because I don't understand how you get to these points you are getting to, how you're drawing these conclusions you are drawing, how you're saying, oh, there's all this evidence when all you present is circumstantial bullshit and nothing actually accumulates. And I don't get how you take someone saying he's clearly 16 here and then go, this is proof that he must have known he was 15. I don't know how you fucking do that. I don't. So I literally called up my guy, right, my buddy, to see if he could hook me up with some shatter so I can take some fucking dabs so I can see if I get into Tommy C's mental space. But unfortunately, no. So you're going to have to deal with a very kind of angry crow tonight. Why is the entire... Vexed. You're going to find something out that is fucking hilarious, right? You're going to find something that's legitimately fucking hilarious. But let's start watching. I don't want to go through too much of the intro here, but because it's his own music and all that stuff. But let's just begin this bullshit. Yeah, what he means by that is, and he actually admits it in the interview, he was the shadow editor on Turkey Tom's video. And he also went to Twitter to say Turkey Tom obliterated Pyrocynical, destroyed him. Fucking, oh my God, this is so bad. Sorry, as far as like the 99%. Yeah, again, what he's going to show is the same stuff from Turkey Tom's video. We've already done a video on this that shows that the only time Turkey Tom shows Ivory's age being mentioned is when Ivory is 16, right? When he is fucking 16. I believe they bring up the Ida stuff. I've already said, why would you expect somebody who doesn't give a shit that a 15-year-old is having sexually charged conversations with someone that she knows would then inform that person if she doesn't fucking care? It doesn't even seem like she cares today, based on the leaked tweets, leaked tweets, the leaked DMs with Ivory. But like the actual fuck. I mean, other than what we've presented. Now, again, that wouldn't be evidence. It would be assumptions. We'll go into the clout chasing claims. He gets into that. Oh, God. Okay. All right. Basically, there's no legitimate criticism as far as TommyC is concerned, right? There's absolutely no legitimate criticism as far as TommyC is concerned, right? It's all bullshit. And he gets very deep into his feelings here. Oh, and by the way, you're not going to be able to hear shit from Ivory because Ivory speaks very quietly and presents no emotion at all in this interview. Like he didn't present any in the first one. I swear, and this is probably going to be seen as me attacking the victim who, I'm sorry, he's not a fucking victim. Fuck you guys. But he sounds like he is taken like a downer or something before he goes on to this shit with Tommy. Oh, fuck. Augie, buddy. I'm sorry, you can't hear anything from Ivory in this shit, and you really don't need to, right? Because TommyC is the real victim here, and he's going to tell Ivory what he needs to say throughout this entire thing. It is fucking hilarious. I'm sorry, you can't hear anything from fucking Ivory. You're not going to be able to, right? Like, you're not going to be able to hear anything from Ivory throughout the entire thing. Let me. That's me smoking hookah, dude. Chill. Let me see if I can just turn this up real quick. That's maxed out. Okay.
Been like needing to talk about, and like just for like the mental burden to like talk about that, and then have every.
Buddy, I'm so sorry you're not allowed to stream right now, but I'm glad that you tuned in.
And Turkey Tom's released a bunch of criticism about his last
videos.
The criticisms against their videos are easily debunked and almost utterly ridiculous. I mean, it almost feels like there was this guy named Baghdad Bob during the Second Gulf War, and he would say these ridiculous things like they were destroying the Americans on every front, while the place he was announced broadcasting from was being bombed by the Americans. It almost feels like they've resorted to Tokyo Rose, Baghdad Bob type of propaganda tactics to protect somebody they probably don't even know. I mean, that's got to be a bit overwhelming, huh? To see what people will do to protect
it's turned on. Don't worry,
their internet heroes. I would imagine.
Yeah, it's kind of eye-opening to like the bad side.
And honestly, when I first started it, the audio was muted on my end, so that was my bad, guys. So don't worry. If you're going to talk shit, learn how to play video properly. Don't worry. I have a lot more shit to talk. Don't worry, guys. Look, the videos here, you guys, so just so you can see it, audio is maxed out here. There's nothing I can do. The audio is super fucking quiet whenever Ivory talks, right? And just so you get full context here, yada. I'm gonna be honest, I can't hear a word Ivory's saying. It's just this video.
Or being on the bad side of like public opinion.
Yeah.
It's weird how you see like people kind of resort to like chipping away at your mental health when they have nothing else to prove.
Do you think that they're deliberately attacking your mental health, or do you think it's just obsession over celebrity?
I think it's I think for some they do it knowing, but for others it's like that's like what their actions are, but that might not be their intentions.
So for those of you who couldn't hear, what Ivory just said there is he thinks some people are deliberately trying to attack his mental health. I will say this. I did see comments directed at Ivory trying to say that he's a racist and shit. People tried making that claim about Turkey Tom too. And there was one guy that I saw on Twitter that was trying to spam report his videos. You don't need to do that to attack the argument. If you're going to just attack the person nonstop, you actually have to address the argument. you have to address the argument. But he then goes on to say that for some people, that's not what their actual intent is, but that's the effect of it. And Tommy here is basically going to ignore that part and just talk about people deliberately trying to attack his mental health and the reasonings behind why they're doing that, because that's the easiest road to take here.
To get you to pop, you think? To get you to do something or say something crazy that hurts your credibility? You think that's the idea?
Yeah. Or to like get me to back down, kind of.
It is the yes, that's I think that's probably a fair criticism. It's almost been a month to the day since
come on, Izagi
dropped his what now looks like an actual attempt to completely and totally discredit you on a multitude of areas. We have 3 guys that claim that they lied about that you regularly lied about your age. 2 of them have recanted. We also, I wondered if you found this bizarre, that our interview between me and you was actually used as a point against you. Did you? I was a little surprised by that. Did you see that coming?
I don't know why he would be surprised by that, because he's going to bring up why it was used against him later on. I really don't understand what the purpose of bringing that up is. But anyways, essentially what he is saying here is, what is going on in my chat? I literally have no idea who this guy is. I'm just laughing. Buddy, I don't know why you're tuned in right now. I was told I'm an absolute nobody, and I would prefer to remain that way. So, but I'm more than happy that you're here, giving me legitimacy. That you don't want to do that. Oh my god. But I admit it's I'm just not going to pay attention. I'm sorry, because if I have to read you guys' comments, I'm going to fucking die laughing here. Anyways, just to back up just a little bit into what he is saying, right? As far as why this interview was used against Ivory, and he does bring it up, it's because when he went on with Tommy, right? He said Tommy asked him, right? Did he seek nudes from you? Did he try to engage you sexually? Like all this stuff, right? And Ivory had said no at the time. And then Tommy had asked him, hey, so why are you calling him a groomer? And he said, I don't know. Tommy then said, did somebody tell you to say that? And he said, I was in a Discord, something like I was in a call or a Discord call with my friends at the time. Right. That is specifically why that interview was used against him, because it didn't seem like he actually had a legitimate claim for why he was using the term groomer. Now, beyond that, there's a tweet. I think it's still up on his account from like November 25th, in which he says, I don't care what the definition of groomer is. Pyrocynical groomed me. Right. This is why it's being used against him, just in case anyone's really unaware, right? But that's not, according to Tommy, that's not real criticism. That doesn't exist.
We also, I wondered if you found this bizarre, that our interview between me and you was actually used as a point against you. Did you? I was a little surprised by that. Did you see that coming?
No. But it kind of showed, like, I don't know, kind of showed the point he was at with, like, producing counter evidence.
Yeah, I guess so. And at first it seemed to go over quite well with the community, but I think what happened is I think our interview, you came off as very sincere, and it gave the maybe the bigger YouTubers an opportunity to sort of chip away at what Pyro was saying.
I'm sorry, but like it didn't come across as sincere. Like, and here's the thing, maybe he was being sincere, but even now, Ivory comes across as like very, very emotionless throughout it. Fucking Tommy has more emotion throughout this entire thing than Ivory presents, just like in the first interview, right? That I don't know anyone who listened to that and said, gosh, Ivory seems like like a real victim here. I'm sorry, but no, that interview was terrible. This one ain't any better.
Now, one of the points against you, which I would have agreed with at the time, but with Turkey Tom's recent video, it's made me real evaluate that. There's a point in the video where I ask you if you understand what grooming means, and without going over too much of it, I don't think your explanation was very good. I didn't think I didn't think you were lying, and this is the way you felt, and your definition I thought wasn't very good as well. I didn't think you were lying. I never thought you were lying for a minute. I just thought that.
I would say that's kind of problematic, right? When you bring someone in for an interview to question them about their story, and your first response is, "I always believed you. I never questioned anything that you were saying. I was always a believer." That doesn't bring much credibility to what you're doing right now. And when you bring up that you helped Turkey Tom edit his video, it kind of doesn't help that case either, because you should always address everything with a healthy level of skepticism. But do go on, Tommy, please.
This was maybe stronger language than that. It didn't that was necessary, and it didn't actually fit what was going on. I now believe that with these recent events, and we're going to watch them together with Turkey Tom, I think there's actually a little more strength, whether you understood the definition or not, to your claims of grooming, because it apparently there were plans for you to make a fake ID.
So we'll get into that part here in a second, right? But Turkey Tom, and I got criticized for this repeatedly, right? And I've said clearly what Turkey Tom's actual stance on this. It's in the Google Doc. He says, I don't think that Pyrocynical, I don't think that I can call him a groomer, but I also don't think that I can't call him a groomer, right? One of the complaints I have about Turkey Tom's statements on this are like, what is your complaint about moral outrage? Because he didn't really seem to be making an argument about legality, right? He said that was what I was saying. That's not really what his argument is about the morality of the situation. So I have to wonder, what's Turkey Tom's problem with the morality, right? Only because you got to be very clear about that when you're saying you've defined someone's guilt, right? You have to say, like, this is why he is guilty of X. Morally speaking, this is what it is, right? And, unfortunately, Tommy isn't smart enough to play that fucking game, because he's flat out diving straight in to declaring Pyrocynical as being a groomer. Now, I've already said the issues with that claim are that Ivory was seeking out Pyrocynical to begin with, right? Ivory was engaged in these erotic role plays before Pyrocynical. That takes away from this entire statement of grooming. It absolutely does. Beyond that, when we talk about this whole, meetup thing, right? Pyrocynical wasn't willing to give Ivory a fucking cent to go visit him, right? And this is when they are both 16 and age of consent in the UK, and where Ivory lives are both 16, okay? So you can't actually make a case for grooming, period. I would say Turkey Tom, whether or not he believes it or not, is smart enough not to dive head fucking first into that accusations. Tommy is not. Okay? Tommy is fucking not. Jesus, dude. But again, the implication of Turkey Tom's video from a lot of people that watched it are that Pyrocynical is a groomer and a pedophile.
And travel to London? Is that true? Why would you need a fake ID to travel to London?
To go drinking, I guess.
Drinking, but what about flying? Wouldn't you need a fake ID? I mean, we're talking about, that's a pretty big crime to lie about your age and get an airplane and travel overseas. I mean, need a fake. Yeah. I mean, wouldn't you need a fake passport if that was the case?
No, the ID wasn't for getting the flight. It was for going to the club afterwards.
It was going to the club, afterwards.
Minors can fly by themselves if they have I think note from their parents.
A note from their parents.
Vacation.
Mm-hmm. I thought you would need an escort at that age, but I'm not 100% sure. So is at that time that conversation about you getting a fake ID was between you and Ida? Is that correct?
No, it was between me and Niall.
It's between you and Mile directly. Were you 15 and or 16 years old at the time?
I wouldn't know if I didn't see the DMs.
Okay.
I'll clarify on this. To my understanding, this is what has been presented, right? That Ivory's birth date is in April, and this happened after April, meaning he is in fact 16. I find it kind of concerning that he can't state what age he actually was when this stuff was going on, but it is important context there because of what age of consent is. Yeah, I did see Augie in the chat earlier, but Augie, I watched his video on this, right? It was about 10, 11 minutes long. Augie even brought up age of consent being 16 in the UK. So yeah, it's important. And I kind of feel like you need to address that because even in the messages that Tommy is reading through from Turkey Tom's video, it is when Ivory is 16. So again, you have to decide for yourself if the morality of the situation, what that actually is, right? It's for your age gap. You know, being 30, I look at it and say these people are still fucking dumb. No disrespect to any, you know, fucking 18, 20-year-olds watching, but my God, I can't, man, before I met my wife, I couldn't stand talking to people in their early 20s, right? Yeah, my wife was 24 when we met, right? And that was about the youngest I was willing to go. And that's only because she's very mature for her age. I just as full context for everything, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's watch some of the Turkey Tom video. This goes over probably the weakest point against you, but the strongest point when it comes to optics. And one of the things that it's just the easy way to dismiss it.
Hold on. Let me address this one comment. AOC Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Stop. Hey Crow, are people age 16 still considered as minors in both the UK and the state that Ivory lives in? I don't know if Ivory is public about the state he lives in, but from what I have been told, the state is, and I don't know if this is public information, so I don't want to bring it up. It is 16 where Ivory lives. So yeah, age of consent in both areas would be 16. Because I could understand if it wasn't, then I guess you could make the argument of like sex tourism or something of that nature, because just so you know, there are countries where the age of consent is extremely low, and US citizens will travel to those countries, actual fucking pedophiles, and they'll be arrested for doing that sort of thing, right? So I don't know how the UK would handle it, but at the end of the day, from what I understand, where Ivory lives and where Pyrocynical lives, age of consent is 16. Now, I actually addressed this in the video today. There are laws, and they're kind of weird the way that they're done here, right? Because age of consent in a state will be 16, but federal laws and other laws within those states can state that, you know, sexting or exchanging pornographic images is still illegal until the age of 18. Yeah, cough, Philippines. Yeah, that's one of them. I think Thailand is like the big one. I might be wrong there. But our laws are a little bit different. In the UK, it is a flat standard of 16, with the only exception to that rule being a 16-year-old who engages in a relationship with like their teacher, because you have a position of authority over that person. This is specifically in relation to legality. In terms of morality, I've already said, I think Pyrocynical is a freak. I think he's a creep. But it's up to everybody to decide that for themselves. At the end of the day, I think all they presented is a moral argument, but you have to be very clear about what that moral argument is, because as Tommy is doing in this interview, he's trying to state that it is 100% grooming, right? Like he stated that it is grooming, and this video proves grooming. I disagree with that. So Tipster said, early in the stream, you said that during the invite to visit the UK, that both Pyro and Ivory were 16, but they weren't. Pyro was older. Did you misspeak? No, I'm saying Ivory was 16 at the time. Pyro would be, I believe Pyro's birth date is late May. I think he was 19 at the time of that. But 100%, there's a 3 to 4 year age gap at all times that these two are talking. Just to clear that up, and thank you for addressing that. What I'm saying is Ivory was 16 at the time of that, which is age of consent where Ivory lives and where Pyro lives. So, yeah, I believe he meant at least 16. Yeah, no, that's what I'm bringing up here. It's important because if we're going to talk about grooming and pedophile allegations and things of that nature, age of consent would be what my actual standard is. Now, I've already said, if Ivory was older than that, right? If like Ivory was like a 25-year-old, fucking 30-year-old doing this shit, I'd be flat out disgusted. But to be fair, like I'm disgusted when like a fucking 40 to 50-year-old is trying to hook up with 18-year-olds on like Tinder and shit. And that's just where my morality would fucking lie on that situation.
Argument by talking about your motivations, and your motivations are irrelevant. Whether you're doing this for clout or not is irrelevant. But I missed something in our last interview when I talked about optics of singing a song about getting E-Fame.
He's going to play the E-Fame song, which honestly, I've listened to it a few times. It's pretty fucking catchy. Yeah, no, 100%. And thank you for clarifying on that, buddy. But if you guys have listened to the E-Fame song, it's pretty fucking catchy. But as far as like the allegations of clout, he's not going to bring this up. And I brought it up, and not too many people seem to claim that this is the issue. I have a problem with this, and it's that the timing is very suspect of when Ivory comes forward. And that's because, Ivory is very proud of his SoundCloud and the music that he does, right? It's all over his Twitter profile. In fact, during the time of these allegations, he had just dropped a new song onto his SoundCloud, and that was his pinned tweet throughout the, I want to say the first 3 to 4 weeks that these allegations were up. I could be a little bit off on the time frame of how long he had that as his pinned tweet. But yeah, I mean, the timing was very suspect that he decided to drop that song and the allegations right next to each other, right? And I've already said, that does not mean that Ivory is lying. But I think it is important context into the actual conversation here.
And you agreed with me. I wish you would have told me that it was almost presented to me, or my understanding was that the song you sang was right after you dropped the allegation. Let's watch Turkey Tom's video a little bit.
That many used to claim that Ivory is a clout chaser, which I will assess now. This video was largely circulated on Twitter, claiming it to be evidence that Ivory is merely a clout chaser.
E-Fame. E-Fame.
The song,
I'm telling you guys, it's fucking catchy as shit. I'm sorry. Like I was like, that song is always going to be kind of suspect, but at the end of the day, it is. I would say it's being done in jest, right? I can agree with that. I think that anyone's going to look at it and say that it is suspect. I kind of agree there, but at the same time, it does seem to be just like a little funny song that he was doing. People have pointed out, and I think Ivory does state this here, that Pyro is in the chat at this time, right? As far as you really can't see it. I think Turkey Tom does zoom in his own video. I don't know if they go to show that portion, but Pyro was definitely in the chat when he was singing that song and still chose to engage with Ivory, right? I would say that it's being done in jest, and it's a catchy song. Grumpy sus. Stop. Dude, why Penny should be what? Yeah, no. And Ivory has stated that on, at least in the interview with TommyC in the first one, that no nudes were ever exchanged between the two, and that Pyrocynical never wanted to obtain them from him. So again, I don't see how this video, which Tommy admits to having edited, I believe a little bit later on, that you're going to say that this proves grooming. I don't understand how you can get to that conclusion. Even if you believe everything being stated here, I just don't understand how you can say that you've come to the conclusion of grooming. But anyways, when in doubt, vote Crow out. Yeah, I'm with you. And to be very clear, yeah, because I saw the I definitely saw the comments. I was reading through them earlier. 100%, I'm a fucking idiot for having the audio not playing at the start. That is 100% on me. But I just started with the hookah again. Like I said, lightheaded.
The song is obviously done in jest, and anyone should be able to see that. But most people are under the impression that this is a recent video. However, if you simply look at the clip, the bottom right-hand corner clearly shows that the recording is from 2016.
That is devastating to this. Who's this guy? This guy is a deceptive jerk off.
Yeah.
Because I was under the impression as well, and you apologized for it. Yeah, that probably wasn't the best idea, but I mean, how do you? I don't even know why you apologized to me. You had done it 4 years prior, and they took it out and they made it out like you had done it right after you dropped the allegations against Pyro.
I actually have to say, out of everything in this video, I do actually agree with Tommy on this one. It is very deceptive to have done that and make it sound like that song came from when around, at least around the time of these allegations, because I was under the impression of that too, right? I was, in fact, during one of the streams, someone pointed out to me that this is from 2016. Now, there is another chat, and I've not been able to find it, that takes place after all this. I'll have to look for it, but it was a Discord log leaked by somebody in which they talk about the clout that Ivory gets from Pyrocynical. That could have also been from 2016. So if it is, whoever did that is a piece of shit too. But if it's not, again, just more context to this situation. Anyways, let's keep going in with the video.
I mean,
he was literally in the call in that clip too.
That's the next part of this video that I didn't know. I've been going over this with Tom. I'm person out behind the scenes and putting my I guess I was a special guest editor to put it lightly. And I told him how I thought he should change it and do this, but I had no.
Okay. This is just a little aside to this stuff though. I think I brought it up earlier, but let me see if I can find the tweet. But how do I say this? TommyC goes, Turkey Tom ended the debate on Twitter, and he linked the video. I kind of feel like, if we're talking about being honest, you should have probably mentioned that you worked on the video with Turkey Tom, right? Because you mentioned it here, right? But anyways, that is me being nitpicky. That is 100% me being nitpicky.
I had nothing to do with this video, and I was not aware of any of this information. And you're right. This is truly unbelievable.
The person who leaks this video initially, Crass, is someone who has been constantly deriding Ivory on Twitter and calling him a clout chaser with no proof other than this video. This is a recording that Crass has supposedly said is around the same time that Pyrocynical and Ivory met. According to him, he will not release the full recording because there are things that are said which Pyro would like to keep private. Pyrocynical, as we can see here, is in this Discord call, and we can even see that he has the role in the server we would expect someone of his size to have. The same username, being LOL, also lines up with what Lumi said earlier. This shows that he heard Ivory singing this, and it did not dissuade him from talking to him consistently.
Is it fair to say that he got this guy to get this event that happened in 2016 that he was involved with and used it to make it seem like you would drop the allegations and then ran to your audience and or your friends and to make it seem like you were clout chasing? I mean,
well, actually, one thing is kind of interesting, right? Who the fuck recorded this 4 years ago, right? And why were they recording these Discord logs, right? I'm actually kind of curious about that. I know it's not really relevant to this story right now, but who the fuck does that? Like, is in a Discord chat with a bunch of people and is just like recording it and saving it for 4 fucking years, right? Like, to me, that's a bit fucking creepy.
This is pretty devastating.
I'd say Crass has like a personal vendetta against me and has no like affiliation with Pyro, really. And like that was just a thing.
And used it to make it seem
Sorry,
you would
sorry.
expect someone of his size to have. The same
He said
username,
something
being
important here.
lol, also lines up with what Lumi said earlier. This shows that he heard Ivory singing this, and it did not dissuade him from talking to him consistently.
Is it fair to say that he got this guy to get this event that happened in 2016 that he was involved with and used it to make it seem like you would drop the allegations and then ran to your audience and or your friends?
Okay, so Ivory clears this up, right? And Tommy basically just went with the assumption that Pyrocynical had like hired, I don't mean like paid him, but like got fucking Crass to go out there and discredit Ivory for him, right? And Ivory says like, no, I don't think he has any association with Pyrocynical. He just has issues with me, right? But again, you want to talk about motivations of people. You're jumping to like an insane fucking conclusion there, right? And I get it, but like a lot of my issues with this whole thing when it comes to Pyrocynical is the assumptions, it's jumping the gun and is running with a fucking narrative. And I think Tommy has continued to do that throughout this video, right? And that would be kind of one of the big things that we can point to is when he says, oh, do you feel like, I don't, you can tell that there are cuts in this interview, right? I would have, if it were me and I was in Tommy's shoes, like I would have cut that part out because it really screams what your fucking motivations are. And again, when you've already said that you never disbelieved Ivory at all, right? I would imagine that the people watching you want you to get to the truth of something and not having any skepticism at all from the start, which Tommy has admitted. To me, I kind of discredits his position on this, but it doesn't mean what he's saying is 100% wrong, right? There's a YouTuber interview Crass about the recording. Fujoshi-san, sorry. If you have that, if you want to link it in here, I'll highlight on the screen so people can save it and watch it later because I think that's important, right? I do think that that's important.
And to make it seem like you were clout chasing. I mean, this is pretty devastating.
I'd say Crass has like a personal vendetta against me and has no like affiliation with Pyro really.
Mm.
And like that was just a thing. He had been tweeting that like a year ago. Like he tweeted that video, but he just dropped it again as soon as the allegations came out. And
this goes into the thing we were talking about before. I mean, it's just amazing what people will do.
Yeah.
I think it is amazing what people do. Guys, don't worry about putting in super chats or donations. If you do it, I will 100% read your comment. But don't worry about giving me donations. Literally what I do with the money you guys send me from super chats. I haven't even done the Google AdSense thing. I still got the fucking shit here. But I'm just going to use that money for giveaways. And I've already got the money set aside for the current giveaway. We're giving away 3 copies of Cyberpunk to the subscribers. We're going to give away another copy on Patreon. And then once we do that, I'll announce another giveaway because I'd rather, the money people give to me because I don't need it for the channel or for myself or anything like that. I'd rather do like giveaways for other people. So, yeah, he fucking is. I don't know what that's about. I would imagine that Tommy did probably try to boost the audio, but it could just be his mic's bad or something of that nature. But it's much worse than it was in the first interview, and I don't know what that's about. Bro, this is a video and a video and a video. It 100% is.
This is 4 years ago. This is completely out of context. This has nothing to do with your allegations. I'm trying to think. It's 11/11/2016. This is before the event happens at all because it happened in February of 2017.
Yeah, that call was me meeting Pyro in voice chat. Like, it's completely irrelevant.
Yeah, what was done to you is just garbage. Let's keep watching.
in private DMs. If this is true, what could Pyrocynical possibly want to hide now that he was previously okay sharing in a call with all of these people at once? This is hardly a private setting. It seems a little fishy to me. Crass himself said that they met in the Solid Shive server as well, showing that there was no 18+ server that...
Now, this, I don't really think he mentions too much on this, but I kind of have a big problem with this whole thing here, right? And it's, I understand that the Discord server itself is an 18 and up, but if he's specifically mentioning NSFW channels, and I get Crass is very suspect as far as his motivations and what he's doing, or she. I don't know if that's a he or a she, so if I just misgendered someone, don't fucking ban me. But like, if there are NSFW channels in there, right, and they're running these RP groups, and we know that the RP groups tend to be erotic, right? If they met in one of those channels, why would anyone assume that Pyrocynical, well, first would be under the assumption that it is a minor that he's talking to, right? Why would he not feel safe in an NSFW channel talking with people in an adult setting, right? I get that's one of the things that's bothered me about this is there's enough in there where I sit there and I say, why are we assuming Pyrocynical here? Don't fucking say that. Don't fucking say I'm canceled for misgendering. But my wife fucking gets on my ass for that too. She's a little woke. But yeah, no, I don't understand if, you know, you're saying, well, it wasn't an 18 and up server, but they're NSFW channels. So Tom kind of like glossed over that. And I had a problem with it, right? I did. I kind of think that's important to say, like, how exactly did they start talking? To my knowledge, that's never really been brought up other than Crass's own statements on this. And it's pretty clear that in Crass's statement, he's specifically bringing up the NSFW channels for a reason. Anyways, I don't think Ivory is trans. I'm pretty sure Ivory is male and identifies as male. I'm almost positive, like biologically speaking. God damn it. Trans, stop it. Well, oh God, because of the furry shit. Well, I guess that'd be Pyrocynical then. I'm trans all out. Well, thank you, Latchkey Goth Boy. I really do appreciate that. Anyways, let's go back into the video. I'm a furry. So I'm not going to ask anything inappropriate in this stream. Potentially.
That they met on. Shortly after the release of the document and people making videos about the information in it, the Pyrocynical subreddit began absolutely exploding and trying to find some way that Pyro could be innocent. The recent proof doesn't really prove that Pyro knew. In fact, Ivory's last log about Pyro took place the same day as the first log of Ivory telling Pyro's GF their age. Could Pyro have stopped because he learned that Ivory was underage? This argument may have held up if this person had actually read through some of the chat logs that they're posting screenshots of, but no. This is complete misinformation. There are plenty of DMs both after the messages where Ivory says to Pyro's girlfriend, Ida, that he is 15, and there are plenty of DMs after where he sends his bio. And to further add to this pile, there are even multiple messages of Pyrocynical admitting to trying to cover things up. Here's a message of Pyro saying he cleared out his Discord DMs. Here's another one where he is asking Thaf9 how to clear out Discord DMs. You can see him here clearly asking how to run a script on Discord to delete his messages en masse. Honestly, it just doesn't look like the activity of someone who is completely innocent.
Okay, and that was another issue I had with Tom's video, and I brought up in the video that I uploaded. The nature of the role play itself is enough to drag Pyrocynical through the fucking coals, right? It is, right? You know, Pyrocynical, as many people point out, he's got a lot of standing in the community and everything. As soon as any of that RP gets out there, it's going to look bad for him. It doesn't matter if it's with Ivory or if it's with a 30-year-old dude or anything of that nature. The RP itself is worthy enough for him to want to clear out his Discord DMs. Like, it's worthy enough to try to get rid of all of it, right? I mean, I can at least understand that being the motivation and not specifically being that he's trying to cover up this interaction with Ivory. Just to be clear. Yeah, let's keep going through it. But one thing I wanted to point out, and I think I have it pulled up here. So let me just switch over really quick because the response from Pyrocynical has been called like a lie and everything. But there's one thing they said like is directly a lie, and a lot of people said it is. And it's over here where he goes, he never once disclosed the fact that he was 15 at the time of these exchanges commenced. He didn't include his age in his bio until he was 16, but I was not on Twitter between 20th December 2016 until 29th June 2017 as I was suspended. Now, to be clear, when he talks about being suspended and everything, I believe that there's a chat from July, right, in the Discord logs, but I don't think Pyrocynical is lying there. I think he's choosing his words very carefully where he says he never once disclosed that he was 15 to me, right? Because of age of consent. So it's easy to dismiss a lot of the stuff that's in this response from Pyrocynical, right? And Turkey Tom does try to do that pretty well. But at the same time, like not everything in here is incorrect, right? And some of it is just an opinion on the actual document itself. But that alone tells me that he knew that Ivory was 16 by the way that he chose to word that. And again, it just becomes an issue of morality, not legality. So it's up to you to decide if, morally speaking, you have an issue with it. I mean, like I said, I kind of do just in the nature of what's going on here. But as far as being age of consent and a 4-year age gap, to me, no. And I've been as clear as I can. I know that I'm going to get dragged because I saw certain people in the chat already. I don't see Ivory as being a victim. I'm sorry, I don't. I know some people do. I know some people are really pushing that. Tommy himself is pushing that really heavily, especially with the grooming allegations and everything, which Tommy is pushing here in this video, right? In this interview. I don't see it. I'm sorry. And there's going to be another point that's going to come up later as to why I don't feel that way. But one thing, I don't know if you guys have kind of noticed this, right? Throughout this interview, and it's kind of why, look, man, the thumbnail's a joke and everything. But yeah, all jokes have a little bit of truth to them, and that's how I usually see it. He coaches Ivory throughout his statements, right? He normally asks him a question, tells him how to respond, and then Ivory kind of just goes along and agrees with it. There are certain times where he doesn't, right? Where he tried to push him into saying that Crass was the one, that Pyrocynical was the one pushing Crass to discredit Ivory. And Ivory said, no, I don't think they have any association, right? But he does that a lot throughout this interview. It's kind of like one of the biggest issues I have with this.
Or someone who has nothing to hide. Additionally, while digging through the DMs, we were able to find some messages where Ivory and Pyro were talking about meeting up in real life. And Ivory clearly talks about how he would have to get a fake ID in order to travel overseas and see Nile. It's worth noting that at the time of these DMs taking place, Pyro would be 20 and Ivory would be 16. However, the idea of them meeting IRL at all is something that we haven't seen before in these DMs. And I think that the fact that he specifically references needing a fake ID is further proof that Pyro
Sorry, I had to zoom in as best I could here to just read this. Sorry. Ivory is 16 at this point, right? May 2017. Okay. If they're talking about meeting when Ivory... What? Yeah, no, guys, don't worry. I'm trying to fish certain people out. But yeah, as you can see in here, it's probably very small, but it is in the video by Turkey Tom, and he does flat out say it. Ivory is 16 at this point. Okay, if Ivory is 16 at this point, this isn't grooming, and this isn't proof that he knew he was 15. Turkey Tom is flat out saying 16 when they're talking about meeting. That is flat out age of consent there. So I'm not entirely sure because Turkey Tom's Google Doc where this information is at, he called it proving Pyrocynical's guilt, and I'm not entirely sure what he proved as far as him being guilty, right? I'm not. I'm looking at it, and all you're doing is proving that Pyro was only willing to meet someone who was of legal age of consent, right? That's important context for me. I think it's important context for everyone who's, talking about this situation. Aura, hey, I know you're at work. I wish you could have been on, because Aura is my better half, 100%. Like whenever I say let's reach out to somebody, Aura is usually the one that does it, because I'm a bit of a prick. I fully admit that, right? I don't admit to having the strongest morals. I can definitely be a jackass. So I freely admit that.
Had to know his age.
While editing this video, I did realize that while Turkey Tom is correct, and it adds to the abundance of circumstantial evidence that Pyro would have had to known his age, that he was 15.
How? Well, okay. See, this is actually where I stopped watching. I started skimming through the rest of this. But how did that prove? How is that part of the circumstantial evidence that he knew he was 15? How? You just played a fucking clip of Turkey Tom saying 16. How the fuck did that? How did you come to that conclusion? Like, how do you come to that fucking conclusion there? How do you come to that fucking conclusion? How do you say that this is right here, just proof on top of the circumstantial pile that he must have known he was 15? How? How is you showing a fucking video clip of Turkey Tom saying he's 16 at the time, and you say, well, this is proof that he must have known. I noticed this when I was editing this video. You put this part into the fucking video. This isn't him interviewing Ivory. This is something that he added himself after the fact. How the fuck does that make sense? Okay, can someone in the chat, right? Because I know that there are people in there who do not like me, right? It's perfectly fine. Tell me, call me a fucking idiot. Just explain it to me, right? Because my issue here is not that, oh my goodness, there is no way Pyrocynical did any of this stuff. I've been very clear, right? I'm not one of those. I saw that doc trying to prove Pyrocynical's innocence throughout all this. Then once he knew he was 16, he stopped. No, I'm in full belief that he kept it going. I absolutely am. 100%. I think that is true, right? Because that's age of fucking consent. How is this making sense to Tommy, right? If it makes sense to anyone who's in this chat, just connect the fucking dots for me, because I'm clearly not fucking smart enough to do it. And maybe it's the fucking hookah. Maybe it's just the fact that I've watched so much fucking content of people repeating the exact same shit over and over and over. But like, come on, break it down for me. Break it down how you're going to say that this is proof he knew about 15. How? I need to know that, because as far as I've been able to tell, the circumstantial evidence, right, of which there's only one piece of circumstantial evidence here, is that Ida was aware, right? And as I've already said, you can easily explain that, and that Ida doesn't give a shit, and she doesn't give a shit today, right? She was like, well, you're not even 14 anymore. And I'm like, she doesn't give a shit about Ivory's age. She never gave a shit, so why the fuck would she go ahead and inform her friend? She's clearly got some bad fucking morals. She absolutely does. And she clearly still has those bad morals. So if that's your piece of circumstantial evidence that proves your fucking case, let me just be very clear. It's not evidence, it's a fucking assumption. And it's a bad assumption. It's a terrible assumption that to assume someone who has no fucking morals on this situation would then feel like they should inform their friend who they're not in a relationship with. I don't get it. I don't. All right. Thank you, Donovan. I have a guess, but I'm not defending Tommy. It's perfectly, if you want to defend Tommy, that is fine, right? I believe he may be talking about if Ivory was 16 at the time, then he was 15 while Pyrocynical was talking to him. I have no clue. But that's, man. The only time he ever said he was 15 was on Twitter. He never said it on Discord, and Pyro was suspended on Twitter. Well, more to the point, because people have said, like, he had some of these messages out there at the time, too. But someone did point something out to me. I don't know if this is 100% true or not. is that the only time he talks about being 15 on Twitter is in responses to other people, right? It's not like he's putting these tweets out. And look, man, I follow quite a few people on Twitter. I don't know how many people Pyrocynical is following. I don't pay attention to what these people say all the time. I don't. I certainly don't jump into conversations that they're having with other people. I don't go through their tweets, and because you can do that on Twitter, right? You go to someone's profile, right? You see their tweets, and then there's a section called tweets and replies, right? I don't go through that unless I'm specifically looking for something. I don't get how any of this makes sense. I don't. I'm trying to connect the dots here. How you play a fucking clip and you inserted this into your interview. You played a fucking clip of him saying 16, 16, 16, and you go in and you insert a clip of yourself saying, this is just further proof that shows he must have known he was 15. How? Fucking how?
I do have to point out that the age of drinking, the drinking age in the United Kingdom is 18. So he would have had to, in order for him to illegally drink, get him an idea if he was at the age of consent, 16 or 17 as well. I think that's very important note as we discuss this further.
Okay. I personally don't. Okay. I personally don't. You know why? Because when I was fucking 15, I was smoking cigarettes. When I was fucking 15. So, you know, if you put like vodka into a water bottle, it looks like fucking water. I did that. I fucking did that. Dude, I'm sorry, but like underage drinking has always been a thing. Like, I mean, if you want to say he's irresponsible for for giving alcohol to someone who is 16, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not in disagreement with you there. It's just, it happens all the fucking time, man. It literally happens all the fucking time. It literally does. You must live in a world where you think that people only follow what, like at 18, that's, I was doing weed. The first time I smoked weed, I was fucking 14. And my sister put me into a fucking hot box. I didn't even smoke, but I got fucking lit as shit. I'm sitting there like needing to fucking puke, and I was fucking 14. I'd sit there and like go, my sister was fucking like 17 at the time. I don't take a deep breath. I mean, I can't take that seriously. I don't know how anyone's taking it seriously. Fuck's sakes, jeez. Fuck's sakes.
Not only that, it actually adds strength. Now, it's that between the 20-year-old and the 16-year-old in the United States is completely and totally legal.
It's not though. It's not though. It's literally not though. It's not. Now, are there certain areas where it is? Yes, but I've actually pulled up the map before, right? Age of consent in like over, I don't want to say over 30 states, but just around 30 states is literally 16. The place where it's not are fewer. And I'm actually from one of those states. I'm from California. I lived there for fucking 29 years of my life, right? Almost 30. Okay. I just moved to a state where age of consent is now 16. And to me, I find that fucking weird. I do, like, but that's based on my morals coming from fucking California, right? How are you making this statement? Ivory, to my knowledge, lives in a state where age of consent is fucking 16. I don't. Oh, so it is 34 states. Thank you. Crunchy Taco, I think the name's hilarious, but man, if it's referring to something else, I want to throw up. 69 viewers. In relation to this conversation we're having, Jesus Christ, I don't get this. I don't get this. This is terrible. This is a fucking bad argument, right? But, you know, when we're talking about this situation with Pyrocynical, what he knew, what he did, all this shit, right? I think that it really diminishes the case that you are trying to prove he's a groomer and a pedophile by consistently showing 16, which is the age of consent where Ivory lives and where Pyro lives. And I've already said, right, that there are federal laws that would prohibit these activities in terms of like sharing of pornographic images, but not in the UK where Pyro is, only in the United States. So I wouldn't imagine that Pyro would go by the laws of a country he is not a part of. And I don't know what 20-year-old would, right? I don't see 20 as being this magical fucking age where you know everything. I mean, most most of the 20-year-olds I've had to interact with, not very intelligent people, right? And a lot of that's just emotional immaturity. But he literally highlighted illegal. He put that into this fucking shit. He did that. He fucking did that. Okay? He fucking did that. Not me highlighting what he just stated there. He fucking put that in there. Okay? He put that in there.
Age of consent in the United Kingdom is 16. I think not only does that show that Pyro very likely knew your age, like within the 99th percentile, I think it actually adds more weight, whether you understood the definition or not, to your grooming allegation. And I don't think it has absolutely anything to do with getting art. I think a lot of people had a problem with that.
I mean, what is... Do you guys see what I'm talking about, though, right? The grooming allegation. The issue with Tommy's interview, what got Ivory dragged in the first place, was that he couldn't actually state what was grooming. He had no fucking clue. And when Tommy himself asked him questions about it, right, and said flat out, did somebody tell you to say that? He goes, well, I was on a Discord, or I was on a call with my friends. Like, this is the issue. Why would it? And the thing is, like, you can kind of tell Tommy's trying to, provide like an explanation behind it. But Tommy, it can't come from your fucking mouth and put into Ivory's. Ivory actually has to explain it because he's got a tweet on Twitter. Tweets on Twitter, right? Fucking duh. But he's got a tweet out there in which he says he doesn't fucking care what the actual definition of grooming is because Pyrocynical definitely groomed him after saying he didn't actually understand what that meant and that somebody else told him to fucking say it. I would take this entire thing a hell of a lot more seriously if Tommy didn't start it off by saying that he never once doubted anything that fucking Ivory was saying. I would take it even more seriously if he at least provided some type of pushback and left Ivory to explain it himself, not giving the answer to Ivory. I hate interviews like that. I really do.
That you said that you thought he was using you to get art from other artists. This looks like he was trying to carry on a sexual relationship with you. You certainly, it never happened. There's no way for us to tell. But I mean, that, having these inappropriate conversations with a 15-year-old boy.
Well, let me highlight that. No, I'm not saying that. Okay. So essentially, Ivory was, I'm not saying that at all, Crunchy Taco. What I'm saying is he was kind of told to use the term grooming. I fully feel like he wanted to come out with this allegation against Pyrocynical. I do think it's about clout. And I'm hoping that we get into this part soon. And if not, I'll bring it up, right? But it's the issue of him not going after these other individuals that he was doing this erotic role play with because he was doing it before fucking Pyrocynical, okay? And the thing is, I don't even know the age of those individuals that were in that chat. They could, for fucking all I know, be older than fucking Pyrocynical was. They could be in states where the age of consent is fucking 18. So I feel like that's totally fucking relevant here. Like maybe someone says like that's not at all, right? Because I know that Ivory's response as to why he's only going after Pyrocynical here is 100% just that Pyrocynical is the only one with the fucking platform, okay? And I jumped into the topic. I always fucking do that. But like fucking, I've mentioned this so many times, right? Chris fucking Thurman, a voice actor for Funimation with absolutely no real social media presence, was messaging girls on Discord, accidentally showing his dick, and then trying to get them to talk about how good his dick was and how big it was and talking about how big it was, right? And one of those girls said, I'm 15, and he was like, oh, okay. But my dick's really big. Do you like my dick? Do you want to send me some fucking photos? Like that sort of shit to me, right? Is an actual fucking pedophile flying way under the radar because he doesn't have a presence on social media. And it took a user specifically trying to expose Chris Thurman, right? Specifically going after that individual because he was flying so low under the radar. So if you really do feel that what Pyrocynical did was bad here, right? If you feel it was potentially fucking illegal, right? then why the fuck would you not want to expose everybody there? Why would you take that as a fucking excuse? Because I gotta say, it comes across as you just wanting the fucking clout off of it. It really does. And I've already said my issue with this is that I had family members, I've had personal friends who are abused, and this shit is fucking frustrating because I'm looking at someone who seems to only fucking care about the clout and diminish what an actual fucking victim is. And for fucking Tommy to lead Ivory throughout this entire fucking interview, this is clear proof that he fucking knew you were 15. And this really brings credibility to the grooming allegation. I know you didn't know what the definition of grooming was, but like, I think it only legitimizes what you said about grooming. Fuck you! Seriously, fuck you! I know I'm so supposed to take this like and be personal and everything, but seriously, dude, the actual fuck is wrong with you. I'm not saying that you cannot take what Ivory is saying here as factual, right? And then say like, you can absolutely go after Pyrocynical if you really do believe what Ivory is saying is truthful, right? I'll counter it with my own argument and everything, right? I will absolutely do that, okay? And there's a reason why I get personal about it, because having had to deal with people close to me that had to go through this shit, right? I don't like saying the word triggering because I think it gets overused a lot, but it is triggering to me. It absolutely is, right? But for Ivory to say, well, I'm not going after these other people because they just don't have the platform or the influence. And then for everyone in commentary to say, well, yeah, he totally fucking abused, and he's a groomer, and he's a pedophile, and all this other shit, right? But then say, yeah, and those other people, they don't matter at all. It's just Pyrocynical's real problem. Seriously, go fuck yourself. God damn. And I brought up this I brought this up before, but there's this kid Colton, right, who's being dragged and harassed by a fucking YouTuber with 700,000 subscribers, right? Dragged through the fucking coals, right? Accusing him of spreading CP falsely, right? Fucking lying about having an active fucking police investigation into this kid, right? And continued on for over a year. His channel got banned. That kid was driven to fucking depression. It is disgusting what happened there, right? And I remember several people in the commentary community who did not want to talk about it at all, right? Didn't want to bring it up at all, okay? Someone told me it wasn't important to their community. Their community didn't want to hear about any of this stuff. Another YouTuber said, Repsion was the fucking guy. Repsion's my friend. He's my buddy. Block. Nicholas Diorio, right? I know this is maybe unrelated to some people, right? But I saw him jumping on this fucking Pyrocynical shit. When a commentator, I know Drama and Opinions has a bad rap with these people and everything, right? And I think she handled the situation poorly. Personally, I do, right? But she was actively trying to clear the kid's name and trying to get these other people in commentary to actually address what was going on. Nicholas Diorio took her making a mistake as actual fucking proof that she was seeking child fucking porn, and somehow managed to avoid ever bringing up the kid that was being dragged and Repsion who was doing the fucking dragging. So I'm sorry, but like when you're in the fucking commentary community talking about how this is important to you and all this other shit, I just don't take you seriously. I know that I shouldn't like loop you guys all in together. I know that I should do better than that. I do, but there were just so fucking many of you who didn't want to talk about that situation, but had to talk about this one. It just comes across as fucking clout. It just comes across as fucking clout.
Boy, and then working that till they're the age of consent just to get them over. This is one of the things that Onision took a lot of crap for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they claimed that they waited till Onision's claim, like, well, we waited till the day she turned 18. I mean,
Yeah.
in a sense, that I mean, I find that incredibly inappropriate, incredibly ridiculous.
Yeah, that's called orbiting.
Orbiting. Can you?
It's like a groom, or it's a tactic You
Yeah, okay, I know, because he's gonna talk about how this is 100% proof of fucking grooming. Let's be very clear. Around the time they actually started this erotic role play and shit, that was the month before Ivory turned 16. Okay, I want to be as clear as I can there. I'm not gonna fucking deny that. All I'm gonna say is I don't think Ivory was honest about his age with Pyrocynical, because the only time, and there's so many fucking logs. He releases logs every few fucking days. Someone pointed that out, right? I think that he releases logs in batches over time to just keep the allegations fucking fresh and everything. He could shut this entire thing down right now and literally accuse that man of committing a fucking crime, which it would be a crime. You go for the fucking cops and everything over this shit. If he had one log in which he actually showed him informing Pyrocynical about him being 15, he could destroy any fucking argument that I'm bringing up right now. And if he has that, I urge him to fucking release it. I urge him to, okay? I 100% do, because I'm more than happy to be proved wrong in this situation, because, look, if there's an active fucking predator, I want them gone. I do, but you haven't done that. And for fucking Tommy here to go and bring up the fucking Anisian situation and go, like, they waited till he was 18. Dude, that's not the fucking same shit. Age of consent's literally 16. He wasn't breaking any law. That's not fucking grooming. And I know in the United States that there's no specific law of grooming, but there is in the United Kingdom. It is an actual crime there.
used by groomers, where they'll ease a minor into sexual conversations and then wait until they're the age of consent to actually pursue them.
Which, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel like I have to apologize to you, because I think with the information that I had at the time to kind of catch you off, to kind of disagree, and I've gone on record several times to say that I think grooming's too strong. But I definitely can say that, over time, and as more evidence has come out, that it's a much stronger possibility. And
How?
I wish I had caught the 2016, and I wish I had that information at the time. Because this is damning, and it shows with Pyro's response on November 10th, 11th. I mean, it's just how out of his way he went to say that you either had false motivations. I mean, he calls you a liar. It says it's 100% not true, and then he goes on to talk about in the same Reddit post to discredit you that you were consenting, even though a 15-year-old can't consent to that in the United States.
And again, and a fucking again, right? This is the reason why I pulled up his actual response here, right? And I read it out, okay? I'm just going to read it again. I don't need to switch over, but this is part of the response. It's on Reddit. You can go verify for yourself and all that other shit, right? Let me just read it again. He never once disclosed the fact that he was 15 at the time these exchanges commenced. He didn't include his age in his bio until he was 16. I read that as Pyrocynical admitting that he knew Ivory was 16. I do. I do, because that is age of consent. And the thing is, Ivory, who keeps, dropping these logs every now and again to keep the allegations fresh and shit, if he's got something that actually shows 15, right? What? People said, well, Pyrocynical, he's such a big name YouTuber and all this other shit, and he should have known. I mean, if he met him in a fucking server when NSFW chats in a fucking RP setting, I would imagine that it took place in the NSFW channel. I mean, I would. I think that's at least very fucking likely. I do. And again, Ivory was doing this with other people. Why would he sit there and say, well, it's a possibility that this person who's engaging in this erotic roleplay with other individuals, that could potentially be a child? Like, who would think that? Who would fucking think that? I would think that if I'm in a Discord server that has that type of shit on there, it would be moderated. I would think that it would be, right? That's why I busted that fucking Sammy Vapor Studios fucking freak show, who was in a fucking Discord server in NSFW channels with 14-year-olds and showing them fucking hentai and shit. I blew that fucking guy up. And when he ran to fucking Repzilla because, oh, Crow has been just so terrible to me, and Repzilla fucking hates me. I already know that, right? Because of the fucking Steve DeLive shit, right? He took him in. Didn't even look into the shit about this guy. And I had to fucking tag him on Twitter and show the fucking logs. And Repzilla's response was thankfully to ban that guy from his Discord server, which I know there are minors in there, and then hit block on me, which is fine. At least he did the right thing, even if he didn't want to fucking acknowledge the shit that he had fucking pulled there, right? But I would imagine that you would just assume that if there are NSFW channels and you're engaged in an adult setting, and you can see this person does this with other people, other fucking adults. I mean, right? Why would you assume otherwise? Okay, like, literally, why would you assume otherwise and then run with it? Okay, it's at least just as fucking likely, isn't it? And again, you can disprove everything I'm saying in the sense that all you have to do is find Pyrocynical being made aware 100% that this person was 15, okay? Not assuming that someone who doesn't give a shit about this person's age would bring it up to somebody else. If your entire argument against Pyrocynical relies upon someone with terrible fucking morals doing a morally righteous thing and informing her friend of something, I kind of think your entire argument is bullshit. As far as the 16 stuff goes, though, again, age of consent, 4-year age gap, I'm not as morally outraged just because I look at people in that age group and just they're all fucking immature to me, right? They are, right? I know some people are more mature and yada, 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 but to me, just no, right? And look, man, at the age of 28, I didn't want to engage with people that were of legal age, like fucking 18. It's messy shit, and they're fucking annoying, and they're stupid, and they're immature, and they have no fucking responsibility. That's just my fucking standard. But I would still at least state, age of consent should be 18 across the board. But if it's not, why would you expect people to live by a different fucking standard than the law of their fucking country? Like, why would you expect someone to live by a different standard than the law of their goddamn country? I don't get that. It's not even the law in our country.
It's really bizarre. 100% false, and he wanted to do it. It's unbelievable that he would be so cruel. And there's a part of me that thinks that.
See, and this is what I'm talking about. TommyC is way more emotional on this shit than fucking Ivory is, right? He is so you can feel the pain in his voice even. And I look at it, I just go like, dude, selling it just a little bit too fucking hard. Just a little bit too fucking hard.
If he had just apologized to you privately and not put this post out, I was like, look, I was talking.
If he had just admitted to it, right? If he just admitted to you, right, so that you could send those messages to everybody, like my entire, this would be so much easier. This would be so much easier if he just fucking admitted to doing it, right? Wouldn't it be so much easier for us content creators if he just admitted to you in a message so that you could send it out to everybody? Wouldn't that be so much easier? Look, I mean, again, and Ivory has a shit mic. Like, dude, I don't know what it is. I don't know if this is just like a fucked up thing with the audio in this video. Maybe he's going to upload a better version of this because it is so hard to hear Ivory. But he comes across as someone, and I said this in the first interview, and this is not meant to say that what he's saying is false. It's just he does not sound like he is all there. I mean, like, he sounds like somebody who has just taken something, right? Like, I broke my collarbone. They prescribed me some serious fucking pain meds. Great shit, by the way. But he sounds like I did when I was taking my fucking pain meds. Just, yeah, man, like, it's the worst thing ever. And, he totally groomed me. And I feel like this is what groomers do. It's their basic response. And, Like, oh, that's devastating. That's the worst thing ever. Yeah, man, it's like the worst thing. I mean, dude. Yeah, great shit, pain meds. Yeah, I guess that's why I've been a little bit more irritable is the fact that I don't have any. I still have to deal with my weak fucking collarbone.
That way because I talk that way a lot of people. I don't know if I remember your age or not, but I apologize to you if it hurts you that way. I saw Tommy's video and it obviously affected you. No, the solution was call him a liar, admit that it happened, and make you out to be a clout chaser. It's shocking. Have you seen Pyro's and we talked about, paying the price last time. Have you seen Pyro's
Social Blade?
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere.
How do you
20K.
How do you feel about that? It's 30 now.
I don't know. Like I feel I hate to do something that puts somebody in.
How do you feel about that? It's like it's got 30K views on it. And you could have just apologized. How does that make you feel? I don't know. Like, I'm sure someone's gonna say I'm mocking the fucking victim here, but like, look at the way this guy responds to this shit. Does he sound like? There's like no fucking emotion coming out of this individual who says that he was fucking groomed. None. There wasn't emotion the first time either. Okay, and yeah, I know that doesn't change anything in the fucking 40 now. Jesus Christ, I know that doesn't change anything, right? As far as like these allegations being true or false, it's just like for fuck's sakes, I don't know how I feel. The outrage, yeah, like between the two of them, it honestly seems like TommyC was the one being abused here. Right? It honestly feels like TommyC was being abused by Pyro. It feels that way because he's the only one in this interview showing any fucking emotion.
In like a worse economic.
He did.
situation.
He
That's
did.
unfair.
I know you said it last time, but he did it this time.
Yeah.
You said the allegation. You stuck to your guns. No one's able to find that you're lying. Whether you're crowd chasing or not, it's irrelevant. You're a minor. This is his doing. This is 100% his doing. And
I guess
look,
so.
when I look at the stuff that was exchanged, and maybe this might be my boomer ignorance. I don't even. It's so gross and so disgusting. I don't know how anybody could.
It's so gross and it's so disgusting. I don't know how anybody could. Shut up, dude. Like, I don't. This is your interview. Let him fucking talk. Let him prove this shit. Oh man. Fine, like, dude. At the end of the day, of course, he's going to lose subs. Like, I think it would lose subs just on the fucking furry shit. Like, because let's be honest, it's not something most people like. But yeah, clout chasing is not irrelevant in terms of like. Here's the thing: we were trying to dictate someone's fucking motivation, right? And this is just, like I said, about not calling out the other individuals that were in this groups that were doing these things with this minor. It is important fucking context. And if you're not willing to bring up that fucking context, if you're not willing to bring up the fact that he was just dropped this song on SoundCloud, that he's been promoting it, that it was his pinned fucking tweet. Yeah, it is fucking context to the situation. And I've already said that does not disprove what he is claiming. It's not an attack on the victim, but if you present a situation which you say this guy had nothing to gain by coming forward, right? He had everything to lose by coming forward. Yeah, it brings legitimacy to his fucking claim. And bring up like, well, no, I mean, he did. Yeah, it could hurt the claim, absolutely, but at least you are being honest.
Could find it sexual. Even the so-called not safe for work art. I pointed out in one of my podcasts that you could put one of the particular images, you could have wrote capitalism on the belly of one of the and you could have made it to be a political cartoon. So what's sexual about that? Nothing. The obese sort of if you wanted to make sort of a left-wing cartoon, the obese American, it could be represent that symbolically, metaphorically. So I don't even I don't feel I do believe you're telling the truth, and I do believe that it did affect you, and I do believe that you felt like you had a responsibility to get this out there to make sure he wasn't hurting other people. I believe totally.
But not any but not any of the other individuals that you were doing this stuff with, because they don't have the platform. You can't give them. I mean, they don't have the influence that he does. No, I mean, like, dude, he comes out as Ivory being the fucking puppet. Oh man. I'm sure there is work in smut. Jesus Christ. Does anyone fucking... It's okay, right? Like, when I start up the stream, I goobered it. I fucking did, and anyone who's watched my channel before knows that I've goobered on stream plenty of fucking times, right? But like, if any of the people that, were here earlier, right? If you're still watching, if you can point out where I'm fucking getting this shit wrong, feel free to do so, right? Because I'm literally telling you, I still have not seen them prove what Ivory is saying about Pyrocynical knowing he was 15. I haven't seen them prove that at all. They just continue to say it's true. It's beyond a reasonable doubt. It's true. Yeah, saying something over and over again does not make it factual. And that's literally my problem with this. Because look, I would imagine that if he was so open about this stuff, it would be in a single fucking message, right? Out of all the shit, it would be there, and it's just not. That to me, that's telling. And the fact that 16 would kind of, to me, say that the only thing I could say here is that 100%, and even based on Pyrocynical's own Reddit post, 100% that he was aware about 16, and 16 is age of consent. And you're not going to fucking get away with this fucking grooming argument, because they didn't start this. The earliest fucking RP that I can see between these two is 1 month before he turned 16. How's that grooming? That's if fucking Pyrocynical even knew. Why would he have reason to fucking assume that? If the Discord where they met had NSFW channels and there were fucking erotic roleplay groups, and he was doing it with other people, why would he assume that? Why would you assume that? Why would anyone assume that?
But on the surface, I don't understand why you're affected by that. But that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. I really think if he just went to you and said, "I'm sorry this affected you. I had no idea. I had no fucking idea." He could have even lied about knowing your age. I just got the feeling that everybody was over 18 in there. I didn't know. It's mind-boggling that he would go so far to discredit and hurt. I think what he did to you in response is 10 times worse than some of the dirty talk you guys had back then.
Really? Seriously? Because I don't understand how that makes sense. If you're... God damn. First off, I wouldn't take Tommy's assumptions on this case very seriously if his own statement when we started this video was, "I never disbelieved you, Ivory. I always believed everything you were saying was truthful." Because to me, then it just seems like you're putting the facts together to justify what you already believe, right? You're not approaching this from an unbiased perspective. And again, look, man, I've watched TommyC. I've watched Turkey Tom, right? I've defended Turkey Tom over those bullshit fucking racism allegations. I've watched Nicholas DiOrio. I've even watched Augie, as much as I fucking make fun of the guy, right? I still watch his fucking content. I watched his video on this shit, okay? But I'm not biased here because, look, as much as I watch these other content creators, I know that they get shit wrong based on how they've reacted to other accusations in the past. I don't even know fucking Pyrocynical because, look, maybe you're going to fucking hate me for saying this, but look, some people like the British accent outside of the fucking Doctor Who that I like to watch, and Torchwood. Torchwood was a good series too. I mean, and someone's probably going to fucking hate me for saying this. Whenever I listen to someone with a British accent, someone once said that you could take someone who's incredibly fucking stupid, right? And because they talk with like this English accent, that it makes them sound so much smarter than they actually are, right? And I kept the opposite effect on that because when I hear it, I'm just like, oh shit, that's my wife.
The other thing is that's just shocking is to make you out to be a racist because I guess you wrote the N-word 1 or 2 times. Is that correct?
Yeah. I was
Okay.
Like, I was an edgy ass kid.
Well, yeah. So Spyro, some of these responses with you.
Well, and look, I'm going to defend Ivory here. I don't think because I defended Turkey Tom on the exact same accusations. I don't think Ivory is a racist, and I think anyone trying to use that argument to discredit what he says, I think that that's somebody who does not actually have the ability to make a statement. If you really don't, right? If you really don't, then maybe just shut up. I'm not trying to be a dick to people, but like if your only contribution to the situation is Ivory's a racist, so don't listen to him, right? Because I saw the same shit being directed at Turkey Tom before. I saw it directed at him recently. Okay. If that's where you're going to take this argument, look, man, I'm not down for that at all. I think that they're actually saying something here. You can respond to it. You absolutely can. And if you listen to this shit, right, and your first response is just disregard it because he's a racist. Way to kill your own fucking argument. Like 100%, way to kill your own argument. I'm not going to hold everyone who is defensive of Pyrocynical in this group together because you have some individuals who behave inappropriately. Just like I wouldn't say that everyone who's standing with Ivory should be compared to the worst members in that group either, right? But if you don't have any other statement on this other than Ivory's a racist, so disregard, or Turkey Tom's a racist, so disregard, or fucking TommyC is I don't know, whatever, so disregard. I think that's pretty weak, and I think that what you should do, right, just to be healthy, just to have any level of skepticism here, is to watch everything, take in all the input, read his response, look at the messages, check the dates, okay, and come up with your own opinion on it. Because, hey, it could vary from mine, right? It absolutely could. And that's perfectly okay. But at least you can say that you did your due diligence there, right? At least you can say you did your due diligence.
I mean, I'm not one of these people, if you say the N-word is indicative of you hating minorities. I think that's a ridiculous statement.
I do have to say, though, my wife is black, and if you ever said the N-word in front of her, she'd kick your fucking ass pretty quick. just to throw that one in there.
It's on its face, especially when minors are doing it just to be jerks and what have you. I'm sorry. If you believe that you're a racist, then you believe in if you believe you're simply because a word is uttered, then you're superstitious in my book. I mean, that's if you want to show me true racism, show me where people are being oppressed, show me where people are not getting jobs, show me those simply by uttering the word is utterly ridiculous and stupid. And the best part about that is he did it too with you. You know?
Yeah, I think a big part of that is like people don't realize that like they're contributing to that stuff, like oppression of minorities, by saying it. But that's a whole different argument.
Yeah, that's a different argument, and I disagree with you on that. I don't think they're contributing. I think it's just a word by itself. Because once you get into something like that, then it's like, oh, step on a crack, you break your mother's back. I mean, it's a whole slippery slope fallacy if you get it down to it.
I actually disagree with Tommy on that one. Look, I've actually talked to some of my friends. They go like, the areas we lived in, people would just say that, right? And it was not used as a, we're talking about like the hard R versus the A and everything. So I do disagree. Like if you're actually saying it with like a hard R and shit like that, yeah. But at the end of the day, I think you judge everything in context, right? Because I remember one of the things they used against Turkey Tom was this this like racist KFC song. It was meant to be a parody and shit. And I think Turkey Tom at the time was like 16 or maybe 15 or something. I'm like, growing up, I watched like a fuck ton of South Park. And I remember a lot of my friends did too. And we said some shit. Like, we said some really sick shit that I wouldn't say today. But, you know, that's part of growing up, right? And if I was branded as a fucking racist for shit that I said when I was 15, I think that's more damaging to the individual you're labeling with that claim. So my whole point there is, like, if you disagree with Ivory, you disagree with Pyrocynical, you disagree with Turkey Tom, you disagree with TommyC, or you disagree with me, actually address the arguments that are being made and presented, right? Because that's the fairest way of doing it. And if you can't do it, and if you have to resort to these baseline insults and shit to discredit, then no. Like, can you throw some insults in there? Absolutely. Look, my entire fucking thumbnail is meant to be insulting to fucking TommyC. It's a small jab and everything, but I'm going to address everything that he is saying in this video. 100%. I'm not going to sit there and go like, this guy's a fucking dumbass. This guy said that because children aren't commentary, they should be treated like adults. I mean, like, dude, people have bad fucking opinions. What do you want me to do? But look at the argument that they're actually making, you know, and address that. I'd be skeptical about power. Fair. Fucking fair. And I think there's reason to be skeptical about Pyro. All I'm saying here is that nobody has actually gone and proved what they are trying to claim here. And especially in that midway section where Tommy declared, right, and he's done it in this interview too, that there's no way, everything here just adds up, that he clearly knew he was 15. And then right before doing that, he plays a clip of Tommy saying, look at this chat here where he's 16 years old. And that's proof he must have known he was 15. I'm like, how? You
know, it's not a nice thing to say, but I mean, I'm sorry, the contribution part is debatable. And, you know, I don't look, I really don't think somebody like you who's interested in things like BLM, and don't you have the ACAB thing in your, and you think, yeah, I don't believe for a minute that you at any level want to oppress some minorities.
That's also a weak argument too. Just to be fair, that's also a weak argument.
You know, and I think you should think about that when you're arguing with people who disagree with you too in the future. But that is for another time. I don't believe that. I don't think there's any evidence of it. I think it's evidence of being an idiot at the worst.
And also, like, the point could be made that, like, I don't know, if somebody had made it normalized for me as a minor to receive, like, heavily sexualized content, then, like, why wouldn't they have me saying a word I don't understand?
I suppose. Do you not understand? In fairness, did you not understand what that word meant at 15? I mean, I didn't
understand the weight of it. I knew.
Oh, you didn't understand the weight of it?
Like,
really?
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I grew up in a different time. I definitely understood the weight of that.
I wasn't
sure, fair enough. But I mean, look, you said it. I'm not going to sit there and make a societal thing about that. You said it. Whatever. I don't think it makes you. I don't think you're a hateful person. I don't buy that at all. I'm angered that our stuff was used to make to make this worse. I think you've been very consistent throughout this. I don't think anybody's found any kind of evidence that you have fabricated anything.
I don't know how to say this, right? But, like, I don't think anyone has presented the evidence that they've been able to prove that Pyrocynical knew that Ivory was 15 at the time. I think it's a weak argument to say that he should have assumed that he was talking to potentially a child in a Discord server that had NSFW chats and erotic roleplay, and these were adult settings, and Ivory was doing with other adults. I feel like that's a very weak argument, and I don't think that you've actually proven your case. I don't. Like, dude, you got to actually fucking prove what you were fucking claiming, right? Because without that, okay, and with your only context in the situation from Ivory, because these are logs from Ivory. These are not logs from fucking Pyrocynical, okay? These are logs from Ivory. And your only time you can show anything is 16. Again, it's in his own document. It's in his own Reddit post where he says he never once disclosed the fact he was 15 at the time of these exchanges commenced. He didn't include his age in his bio until he was 16. Because I'm pretty sure that he is aware of what age of consent actually is, right? I'm pretty sure Ivory was aware of that too. Okay.
I think after that became abundantly apparent, I think forces, including Pyro's girlfriend, his fan base, and him, decided to attack you and victim blame you for this. And I think that is 100% apparent. I think all this other stuff is a red herring.
Fuck you, dude. Okay, fuck you, right? Because look, I don't see him as being a victim here, okay? And if you want to make the case he is a victim here, then for fuck's sakes, he cannot go around and protect his other erotic roleplay partners, okay? He cannot fucking do that. Okay, he cannot do that and say, but Pyrocynical was one abusing me. But actually, I just don't want to expose those people because they don't have the platform or the influence that Pyrocynical has. But it's all the same thing. Okay, as soon as he does that, it's not a fucking red herring. It literally leads into that argument of fucking clout chasing. And he's not a victim. This is always going to be a question of fucking morality, but it's not fucking victim blame to point that shit out. It's not, and I hope that TommyC addresses this at the end, because at this portion, full disclosure, have not watched this portion of the video yet, okay? Have not watched it. Oh, baby, you look beautiful.
Fucking clout chasing. Ring, 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 ring.
Oh, I'm heating up a coal right now. Here. Sorry, guys. Wife comes first.
That's not ready.
Yeah, it is.
Well, Nikayla's here.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got like 6 more minutes on this video, so probably done in like 10. Are you taking it?
Yep.
Judgement, for fuck's sakes, just go. Be careful. Just carrying a freaking hookah pipe with the fucking hot coal at the top down the stairs. Okay. By the way, only woman I will ever simp for is my wife. Okay. she doesn't smoke the hookah. She took the hookah.
Excuse me?
I said you didn't just smoke the hookah. You took the hookah.
Where's all your friends that stream on here with you?
Oh, Steve is doing a stream right now. I did this kind of like a last minute setup. But yeah, I'm just addressing this stuff and we'll be done here in a little bit.
Hello, everybody. Oh, look at you. You fancy. Look at that.
I know. I got it so I won't have to deal with this stuff anymore.
Hello out there. Okay, bye.
Love you, baby. We'll be down in a little bit.
We're not even down. We're in the bedroom.
Sorry, guys. I love my wife. If she needs my attention, that puts everything on pause for me. Like, so who put the fucking sim comment in here? Who was that? I gotta highlight that. You guys are funny. Chrono Simpy is right. I simp for my wife. Like, fuck, man. Hey, I love my wife. I will do anything to make my wife happy, except for, except for no more One Piece. Like, One Piece is the one thing that I'm not gonna fucking stop. Okay. Hold on, let me play this. He needs to apologize and clear up the air for anything else that's remaining, I think is what you meant to say, because this is a shit show. To be honest with you, though, I gotta ask. I do have to ask. What response do you think from Pyrocynical would actually work for any of these people? If he comes forward and he apologizes, let's be clear, that's an admission of guilt, right? It's just going to be taken as admission of guilt. If he says he never disclosed 15, because that's literally in his Reddit post, they're just going to say he's lying. So I don't know what Pyrocynical can actually say that would appease the commentary community. I don't. And to be frank, I've already said it. I urge Ivory to come forward if he has actual messages, because I know he leaks things out at random times, and he's just spread it out, which is just inflating the allegations and dragging them out even longer. Okay? If he's got actual evidence that Pyrocynical knew he was 15 at the time, come forward. Please fucking come forward. Put an end to it. And if you don't, then it's gross and it's irresponsible of Turkey Tom, fucking TommyC here to go out there and say that it is definitive proof. It's not. It is not. And the only argument that they have to state that that is true, right, is, well, Ida knew. And I go like, yeah, but Ida didn't give a shit. Ida's got terrible fucking morals. Why would you assume that she is going to tell Pyrocynical anything? Because they're friends? Yeah. Except she doesn't give a shit. She thinks it's totally okay. It's not her fucking relationship. It's not her man. What the fuck would you think that she's got to fucking get involved? I go, because they've had these conversations. Yeah, but why? Why? She doesn't care. And to my understanding, I need to check the actual dates of the logs with Ida. It's again right around the exact same time that these erotic role plays take place, which is 1 month before Ivory turns 16, which is again age of consent. Yes, baby.
This cold not hot enough.
Oh, okay, give me the coal back. Okay, come back in.
We're leaving.
What do you mean you're leaving?
We're leaving. We're going out
Where are you going?
to the main event.
Okay, I'll meet you at main event. Okay.
You're gonna come too?
Yeah, of course.
No, but I'm just like a boy.
And
Well, I was due no.
well, you trying to flirt with girls?
Huh?
Is that what you're trying to do?
Huh? Mind your business.
Better not. I want to meet you there. Okay.
No.
Yes.
Okay, good. Bye.
Love you.
Come here, boo.
No, she can stay.
No, she doesn't like you.
She loves me. Bro, don't go. Terrible.
Including
Okay, let's wrap this up, guys.
Uttered by a 15-year-old in any context. This happened, and I don't even know if it's that bad. But what really makes me angry about this is that it was just the bold-faced lying. Like, you didn't understand what was going on. He didn't understand you weren't old enough.
Yeah, it upsets me too. The bold-faced line coming out of fucking TommyC here, where he says 99% certainty that he knew. How? You literally played a clip of Turkey Tom saying 16, and he said it did 99% certainty of 15. I don't know how that worked in your head, dude. I don't know. And it's really concerning to me because you inserted a clip after the fact when you were editing to say that it was proven. How? How?
To have these conversations, I think we could have just left it at that. Me personally, maybe you don't feel that way. But to sit there and say, okay, now I'm actively going to destroy this person's credibility. And I think the reason you have this credibility right now is because you stuck to your story, you admitted your faults, and you're
okay. Because he's obviously not going to cover it. One of the biggest destructions of Ivory's credibility is this one fact right now, that he was engaged in these erotic role plays with other adults. Okay. And if you're going to argue that everybody should have known, you don't get to say, well, Pyro is the only one that matters because he has clout and influence, all this other shit, because I've already explained the situation. Chris Thurman, right? Actual fucking pedophile, admitted to doing this shit, had no presence on social media. So you cannot, that's always going to be a fucking knock against his credibility. You want to say, well, he has all the credibility in the world. No, he doesn't. If you want to say, well, clout chasing doesn't change anything, it absolutely does. Because all I can see here is age of consent being met. All I can see here is the only time Pyrocynical knew the age was 16. All I can see here is that Ivory, when he met Ivory, was what we can assume was an adult setting. Why would he? Let's just. No, he hasn't. He hasn't. That's the thing. He hasn't admitted to his faults. That was a bullshit fucking statement by Tommy. Because one of his faults is not knowing what grooming is when he made the accusation saying his friends fucking told him to say it, and then doubling down and saying he doesn't care what the definition is. That's not owning anything. I'm sorry, that's not owning shit. And when he gets called out and said, why aren't you exposing any of these other adults that you were doing this shit with? And his response is, well, because Pyro's the only one who has influence and a giant sub count. That's not owning anything. It's literal fucking criticism there. You want to fucking deny that it's real criticism? Fuck you, dude, because it actually is. It actually is. What we need is Pyro to make a response video. Hey, if he makes a response video, good, right? Because look, at this point, I don't know what to think here outside of you haven't proven your case, right? You haven't proven the guilt. You haven't proven that he knew he was 15. You haven't even proven that he should have assumed that, or he should have verified, because you put clips in your video, Turkey Tom, which fucking Tommy apparently helped you out with, in which you show that, sure, it wasn't ATM server, but they had fucking NSFW chats and they were fucking engaged in rock roleplay. He was engaging in rock roleplay with other people before Pyro. Nowhere in there have you done anything that you were claiming to have done. And it could be out there, because I want to prepare everyone for that. It absolutely could be out there. Because here's the thing, right? He was clearly engaged in this role play with other people. So it's possible, right? But for individuals who have been in commentary far longer than me, Turkey Tom's Twitter handle is Zapty, who got canceled by Alex on some bullshit fucking claim. Okay? You would think that you would go through the painstaking effort to make sure that there is no argument against what you're claiming. And if there is...
I have a new friend.
Oh.
Am I ruining your stream?
You're fine.
Where's the stream? God, it's hot as hell in here.
Well, that's because this is going right now.
Jesus, I thought the cold's gonna be done already.
Well, I mean, actually, it kind of is now. This bottom side's all done. There you go.
Becca's like, goddamn, in hell. Oh shit, it is hot.
Okay, all right, guys. Look, I think we've gone through the main points of the video. Go ahead and watch the entire thing in full without my commentary, and then make your own decision on it. Origami, I'm about to leave.
No, you don't have to.
Join. Go watch Steve DeLay.
Okay, yeah. Guys, go watch Steve DeLay's content. Go rate his stream right now. I have it pulled up right here.
Oh, you got it. Good shit.
Go check it out. I'll probably be in the chat. There you go. Guys, I'm sorry. I have to head out. This stream was totally unplanned. I think I've addressed all the points here. Or thank you for tuning in at the very end. And we got to get going because I have 3 people waiting for me.
3 lovely ladies.
And my wife has said that she's dressed up as the boy. So if I don't go, she's going to do something inappropriate with them. So bye.